So I want to just talk to you a little bit about the seminar series, and this is going to give you the details of what to expect for the next 10 weeks. And this is a good chance for you to ask me questions or make suggestions, because we really are trying to make the seminar series the most effective for you as possible. So if you have ideas or suggestions on things we can do, I'm very open to it. So the overall objective of this series is to increase consumption of research. And this word consumption, it's kind of a strange word. You don't actually use it much. But what do you think of when you think of the word consumption? What do you think that means? What does it mean to consume research? Use it? Okay, so she's going to use it. What else can that mean? What does she have to do to be able to use it? Produce it, understand it, know it. Okay, so really at the end of this, I want Jian to feel very comfortable with research so that she can be a good consumer of research, okay? She can consume it. Specifically, what I hope she can do is to understand the fundamentals of medical research. Vocabulary, designs, why you ask certain questions, who do you ask the questions to. I want Jian to be able to critically review research articles. So I want her to look at an article and go, this is really interesting, I can learn a lot from this. Or to look at an article and go, this is not interesting at all, I'm going to throw it in the rubbish bin. Okay? Just because something is written doesn't mean it's good, and I want her to be able to tell the difference between good research and bad research. How do you know if you want to change things based on what you've read? You don't want to change it if it was bad research. I want Jian to be able to tell me what are the different study designs. So, you know, we talk about research like it's some big, unobtainable thing. There's really 5 study designs that you'll see again and again and again. So if you can learn those 5, you can become a professional researcher in the next year. You know, you can be able to choose when to use a design and know what the limitations of the designs are. I want Jian to be able to explain different sources of bias. And when I say bias, I basically mean what are things that happen in research that make me not believe the results. So maybe I ask a question to Ansil and I say, Ansil, do you exercise? And he goes, of course I exercise every day for 3 hours, because he wants me to believe that he's very fit and healthy. That is a type of bias, right? He's telling me what I want to hear, and maybe he is not telling me the truth. So the question is, what are these biases, and how do we handle them in research? What is the effect of someone who is lying when you ask them a question? What is the effect of me asking someone who is at the hospital versus someone who is in the community? And then finally, just to read and interpret and implement results. So my hope is Jian will start reading papers about midwifery, and she will start changing what she does based on what she has read. Now, this is just what we consider to be a starting point for researchers. So we are offering this Introduction to Research series to get people reading and talking and thinking about the research that they want to do. And some of you at the end of the 10 weeks will say, that's all I wanted to know. That's enough information for me. I'm going to be a good consumer of research. And some of you are going to come and say, actually, I thought it was really interesting, and I want more skills in research. And so in addition to this training, we have an intermediate research training that is focused on specific skills. It's on writing, it's on developing proposals, it is on getting clearance to do research, it is on managing research. I do not teach that part because I am not a good research manager, but how do you do budgets and how do you manage a team of data collectors? It's on publishing papers. And so we have other trainings that if you are interested, you can go into those trainings after this one. And then finally, some of you will say, you know what? I like it so much that I want it to be a major part of my work. And we are supporting individuals to go get even more skills so that they can be research leaders. So I think right now we are funding, at the School of Public Health, 5 people to get MPhil degrees and 1 person now to get a PhD. And so if you think you want to be a research leader, there are opportunities for you to grow into that. Okay, so this is just a starting point. You can say after this, not interested, I know enough. Or you can say, no, I really want to learn more, and we are trying to provide those opportunities. So let me give you a few examples. So I think many of you know this is the second time we are doing this series. We did this series, last time it was 1 year, so it was once a month for 1 year, and everyone said it was too long, so we're now doing it once a week for 10 weeks, okay? But we had 61 people across the 3 sites complete the Introduction to Research seminar series. So there are 61 people ahead of you, and we learned a lot, and so hopefully even this time it will be better than last time. Some of those people have gone on to do other projects. So this is Clarice and Bernard and Bataro. Clarice is a M&E coordinator for Partners in Health. Bernard is the head of PBF for Barrera for Ministry of Health. And they decided that together they wanted to apply to our operational research training program. So this is in that intermediate series where we're training people to write papers, to write proposals, to collect data. And they are now working together on a project called Presentation and Management of Dental Caries at a Rural District Hospital in Rwanda. So they are actively doing a research project on a topic that they chose, and we are just training them on how to do the project as they move along. So right now I think we're just getting approvals from the Ministry of Health, and they'll start data collection next month. Here's another example. So this is Deogratis. I think many of you know him. He's based here in Rinquavu. He works in the pharmacy department. He came through the training series last time. He said, I'm really interested to do more research. I'm really passionate about NCDs. And so now he has joined the NCD writing group. This group meets once a month to work on papers around cancer and around NCDs. And this is Antanase, who is head of clinical services at the hospital, and he also came and said, I'm really interested to do more research and to learn from projects. And so he is now working with the surgical research team and is helping with the surgical research project so he can get more skills. So you can either go into training programs, or if you're just interested in forming a social work research team, we can provide support for that. This is a good foundation to start on that path. So what do we know about these series? As I said before, we've had 61 individuals complete this series. And what we learned from those is at the end of 12 months, they were reading more research articles, they were participating in more research activities, and they were participating in additional training. So they said, that's interesting, I want to learn more. We did theirs at the end of 12 months because their training was 12 months, and that's why we know after 12 months. Now, I'm sure all of you are saying, how does she know that? How can she make statements like that? They're reading more articles, right? Well, we did research on the training series, okay? So we actually conducted a research study looking at how did people's behavior change before and after the training series. It was led by Marlene, who is based in Bataro. And if you look here, the number of articles read at baseline, 1 per month. Most people said, in the last 6 months, I was reading about 1 article per month and consuming that information. After 12 months, they were saying that they were reading 4 research articles per month. So all of a sudden, they're reading a lot more articles. They're probably more interested. They know where to find the articles. They know how to consume the research. Or we said at the beginning of the training, how many of you are involved in research? And 28% of people said, I'm already doing some research. Maybe I'm helping, Daniel is already doing research. He's helping with data collection for the verbal autopsy study. At 12 months, 59% said that they are involved in research. So, a good example is Dea Gratis, who came to us and said, I want to join a research team. And so at 12 months, he's already starting to engage in other research projects. Now, some of you might be looking at this and going, what the heck is a p-value? Okay? And I promise you, at the end of the 10 weeks, you will know with full confidence what a p-value is. Okay? That is part of what you need to know in order to do research, is how to interpret what that p-value is telling you. And so part of the training will be to take you through to better understand what a p-value is, what it means. What else did we learn from the training series? Well, we also looked at different factors. So at the beginning of the training, we had 126 people start, and we only had 61 people finish. So we lost quite a few people along the way. 48% finished, so 52% did not finish. And we looked at a lot of different factors of who finished and who did not. Here are two factors that I wanted to share with you: gender and type of staff. So looking at this, what do you think we could learn from our research about the series? What conclusions do you think we can make based on our research about the seminar series? What are our gaps? You told me that part of doing research is understanding underlying causes or problems with the program. So what are our problems here with the way our training is done? So if you look here, 53% of men finished and 33% of women. We had more men finishing than women. What about the clinical and non-clinical staff? So 63% of non-clinical staff finished, and only 37% of clinical staff finished. Okay, so identified problems, right? Those are some problems that we had with our training last time. Does anyone want to make suggestions of how we could improve? Why do you think we saw these problems? I actually think the problems were similar for each of the groups. Why do you think these were problems? One of the challenges is our program was too fixed and it did not give flexibility. I would actually say that is true for our clinical staff as well. They're at the hospital and they have this long line of children they need to see. Or they have this long line of outpatient visits they have to see. And they can't go, it's 3 o'clock, I have to go to Bethany. It's time to see her. And so one of the things that we learned from this research is that we need to be more flexible. We need to be providing options for people outside of, you have to be there at 3 o'clock, okay? So that is partly what Lambert is here doing, and I'm going to talk about his role and what he's doing. Is we're really trying to provide some flexible options for individuals if they're not able to attend the sessions. Now again, my guess is some of you are looking at this and going, relative risk, confidence interval, p-value, what is that? And the good news is that in 10 weeks, you're going to be dreaming about confidence intervals, okay? You'll understand them so much that, and we'll talk about them so much, that you'll be thinking about them when you are sleeping, okay? So if you don't know what a confidence interval is, or you don't know what a p-value is, or you don't know what a relative risk is, and you want to know, then I suggest you come next week. So for this 2014 Introduction to Research Seminar Series, how it is different from before, first of all, we're only going to offer it in Ringquavu. So one of the suggestions we had last time is a year is too long. I started and I was very interested, and by the end I was just exhausted. And so we want to be offering this pretty much every week for the next 10 weeks. Another difference is we had people apply and we selected from the applications. And I did not do the selections. Basically, we looked at your essay and then we said to the leadership, these are people who completed the essay that said they were interested, and they chose you. So you were chosen by Dr. Fulgence for the Ministry of Health staff and Drs. Felix and Neil for the PIH staff. I will say 55 people applied for 19 slots. So if you do not want to be here, after all of this you say, you know what, I really don't think I can do this, no problem, but please tell me today or tomorrow so I can invite other people to come. At lunch today, I had 3 people come and go, I wasn't selected, what can I do? So if there are 3 people who want to leave, I can create spaces for them to come. Okay, so please, if you're here, stay, because there are other people who wanted to be here who cannot. And then finally, we are developing distance material so that if you miss a session, you can make up the content. I really want you to come to the sessions, okay? If you can be here, please be here, because the strength for me is in having conversations. I feel like I can learn so much from Willie, and Willie can learn so much from me, and we have to have a conversation so that we can learn from each other. However, I know sometimes Willie is going to have to go to Cureje for data collection, and there is nothing that we can do. It is his primary job. And so in those cases, we will have videos that are developed for you that you can watch and extra homework assignments that you can do to make up the materials. And that is what Lambert is doing now, is he's actually making a video and he will be editing and putting them on a website so that you can watch them later. It should not be your number one choice, okay? Willie should, if he has to go to Cureje for data collection, go to his supervisor and say, this is a priority for me, I really want to be there. And if his supervisor says there's no option, then it is there for you as backup. We have 2 teaching assistants this time. Lambert is here and he will be doing the distance learning. So if you find you need to do a makeup class because you could not come, he is the person to talk to. He will give you the website. He will help you figure out how to use it. Peter, he's going to be the one who's helping with grading. So you're going to have homework, and so you will be turning them into him, and he's the one who will be giving you feedback on your performance. So the 3 of us, I meant to add a photo, the 3 of us together are your teaching staff for the course. These are the topics that we will be covering. So we're starting off with what is research and why do we care. Starting next week, we are jumping in. Okay, so how do you read an article? How do you interpret tables? How do you interpret confidence intervals? That will be the focus for next week. We will talk about bias. My statement is no research is perfect. It's really important to know why there is a problem, and bias is usually the problems that we have with research. Then we will go through the most commonly used study design: cohort studies, case control studies, cross-sectional studies, and then qualitative studies, which again, you don't want to learn from me, so we will bring in some of our qualitative researchers who will do that session for you. Randomized trials, lot quality assurance sampling, and then we're going to end with the beginning. Where we're going to end is how to use clinical data for research. Where does M&E and research intersect? And to get you to start thinking about what your research project is going to be. So if you started to do research, what is that first project? This is a tentative timeline. If you can please just plan every Wednesday from now until the end of April for the training, 3 to 5 p.m. There is a chance I will have to travel out of the country. It will just be for a week and we'll just postpone to the next week. So try to protect your Wednesdays from now until the end of April. This is the session structure. So starting next week, on Monday, I'm going to email you an article with some questions for you to think about. So your homework for that week will be to read that article and think about your answers to the questions. And when you come here, I'm going to ask you those questions. So when I say, Frederick, what is the answer to this question? You should have an answer because you've already read the article and thought about the questions. When we come together on Wednesdays, there'll be a pretest. We'll have about 45 minutes of discussion and presentation. We'll do questions, a post-test, and then I will give you homework. For the homeworks, this is going to be your biggest challenge of having the fast schedule. you will have 5 days to do your homework. It will be reading an article and answering 8 questions about the article. So you will get it on Wednesday, and it will be due on Monday to Peter, who will grade them for the class next Wednesday. So it's going to be fast. Be ready for the next 10 weeks to have 2 articles a week to read, and then homework questions to answer for those articles. So why are you here? Here's a little bit of incentives. I hope you see this as an opportunity for professional development. I do think the skills that you learn in research apply to many other things. So learning how to present results is not just a research skill. It's true if you're a program manager or if you're working in the community and trying to affect behavior change. So hopefully the skills you learn now will help you as a professional. You know, the who is interested in research, hopefully you said me, and so now you can learn more about research and the role that research plays in organization. For the medical doctors who are here, there is a CPD program, and you will get CPD credit for being here. I don't know who that applies to, but if it applies to you, you can talk to Peter. I know they were talking about doing CPD for nurses. I don't know if that started yet. But anyone who is eligible for CPD will get CPD credits for coming. And then finally, you get a certificate. So this is Peter's certificate from last time. It's a good-looking certificate, I think. Now, you cannot come today and then not come again and get a certificate. And believe me, sometimes people ask, I signed up, where's my certificate? So just to be clear, to get a certificate, you need to come to 9 out of 10 sessions. Now, I know some of you will miss sessions, so you can do make-up sessions for up to 3, okay? So let's say, for example, Neza was not able to come today because of her leave. She can go online and do the make-up session. She cannot do that for all 10 sessions. She needs to physically be here for at least 7 sessions, okay? 7 out of 10. So look at your schedule. I already know Vincent is going to have to miss 2 sessions in March, so that means you need to make sure you come to every one in February, okay? Because you don't want to get behind. And then you must complete all homework. So even if you miss a session, that's no excuse. I went to see your homeworks. There will be 9 in total. So you don't have homework today. This is your get out of class free card. But starting next week, you will have a homework every week for 9 weeks. And you must score at least 75% on the homeworks. Okay, so most of them are multiple choice. If you go A, you probably won't pass. You need to actually read the article and answer the article, okay? I don't care if you work together. In fact, I encourage it. If you want to work together and read the article together, that's fantastic, okay? I think it's good. It encourages communication. So again, if you need to miss a session, it's okay. We will have a make-up session for you. You'll have to work with Lambert to get the materials to be able to make up the work. So with that, I want to thank you for your interest. Again, congratulations on being accepted because there was a lot of interest in this seminar. Any comments or suggestions you have, questions, now's a good time to ask. And I want to thank Lambert and Peter for their willingness to help the course as well. So thank you.